Uh, Thank you, Professor Antonio, to joining an interview session.
Thank you very much for having me
And
here.
also, I would like to thank you for visiting our country. I think this is the first time you are visiting our country.
It is the first time, but it's taken me 6 years to come. I've been trying to come. It was very hard to come. Many problems in terms of visas and stuff like this, but I was persistent, and in the end, it really worked. So I'm really happy that all the effort has paid off in such a great way. I'm having such a great time over here. I'm really happy.
Okay. Have you been any place during your visit? Because today you are living.
Yes, we have been going around Dhaka. So I've had a tour with Dhaka with a friend of mine. He's here. And I was very impressed because this place is absolutely awesome. The people I have met are very welcoming and it's very developed. I did not know what I was going to find because I've been traveling to many nations around the world, and it's really nice. It's really much more than I expected, so this is good information to me because when I go back home I will be able to communicate great words in a very positive manner with pictures as well.
Okay, good. Now we have to come to the point. Since you are the expert in digital marketing, digital engagement, so we'd like to ask you how this digital marketing, digital engagement will impact on global business.
Okay, well, digital marketing is a term that has been going around for about 20 years. I always say that digital are zeros and ones. Digital is something that is done by engineers. The marketers, what they use is that they digitize contents, things like videos and online sales of stuff like tourism, products and so on. So those things, what they do, because they are services, they are digitized and they are sold online. So that's what they call digital marketing. I think that the internet is more about technology and the digital is just the way of codifying the products and the services like music and videos and so it can be communicated online. Regarding digital engagement, engagement is a term that we use to sort of explain how people are actually attached to that content. Like if you see the video, how long you see the video, if you like the music, if you buy a travel package. So I was saying in the talk that many years ago, the focus was more on how do you measure return on investment. Like you put 1,000,000 takas, how many takas you get back. Not addicted, also, although addicted is a word that is being used a lot. You see people walking around with their Facebook or their WhatsApp and they have they hit their head somewhere. So it's very good to be involved and it's very good to measure the involvement of the consumers with your product. So digital marketing is one thing, digital engagement is the phenomenon of how you engage. And this you can do from anywhere in the world. You can, we have been working on the engagement concept for many years, but in Bangladesh you can do the same thing. It's just getting a team of research people together and working on this topic.
Thank you. And in our country, there are many micro business, and it's still under developing. And since all systems and all the businesses is turning into digitalized, so my question is how this digital system or the information technology can play a role to improve the micro business.
Well, if you want to digitize a business or a product or a service, you use the technology to do that.
Yeah.
So the reply is obvious. Technology is what you use to digitize that. Now, I firmly believe that we have to slowly break away from mass production and move into something which gives added value. Like in Spain, we have this massive giant called Inditex. They are absolutely great. They are doing a lot of sales through retail shops. They have moved into the digital strategy for exporting and selling their stuff using the website, and it really works. Actually, the Zara.com, I think it is, website is the biggest shop. So it is possible to break away from selling goods and to digitize. Usually, the companies that work, the micro companies that you say, have a team of 6 people. That is sort of like a number that is okay. If you are like 1 person or 2 persons in your company, you can use 4 or 5 advisors to create a team. The teams have to be balanced. So micro companies are okay as long as you have enough people, because if it's just like 1 engineer, it's very hard to do. because you need many hours. To start a company takes a lot of time. To launch a company takes even more time. So teams are necessary. We always say, don't ask for investors until you know what you are doing, and stay with your money as long as you can, and only bring investors when there is something you want to do and you cannot do it. Because what you are doing with bringing investors is giving a portion of your company to somebody else so you can lose control. So these are the basic things that you need to do through the beginning. Have a product, understand what is the problem your product solves, understanding what is the market, understanding what is the value you are providing, how are you going to get users. Like, the number I'm going to say is a bit crazy, but it's real. How are you going to get your first million users? So these are the things that the micro businesses have to be ready for. And also, very important to understand, I think, is that the internet is global. You can put a product here, you can sell it to anywhere in the world. We tend to go local, we tend to go national, but it's very important to understand that you can sell your product to anybody who has the need. Like, I like ginger, and I eat ginger because it's very good for the throat. And I've seen great ginger here in Bangladesh, ginger I cannot find in Spain or California. So if you want to sell me the Bangladesh ginger in California, I will buy it.
Okay, the next question is that about the digital, the system is
Yes.
a complex system. It's not easy to adopt by overnight. It takes time. So as we are the developing countries, so we're gonna face some challenges. And my question is, what kind of challenges we're gonna face in the next few years, and how we're gonna overcome these challenges?
Okay, well, I can't reply to the question, how is Bangladesh, how are they going to overcome the challenges, because I'm not here long enough to be able to reply to that. But I can explain what's happened in other countries, and probably it's going to be very similar. The first part of the question is, if you want to do a digital business, you need engineers. And in the talk today, I've asked how many people from engineering are. There are many. So it's not as difficult as you think. It's about telling the engineers what you want. And what usually happens, which works, is that you get a team of engineers who do the work, and then you get a chief engineer who is more experienced. So the engineers have to convert your dream into the product. So the chief engineer talks to like the CEO or the marketing person, and he says, do it this way because this is what we want. And the engineers have to be very sweet and be able to actually listen to what you want and try to help. When you work with engineers, don't mess around with them and change their job every day, because they will get tired and they will go. Okay? So you need to understand what you want to do and have somebody who can convert your dream and your wish into instructions and requests for the engineers so they can do what you want. So it is not that difficult. The engineers are ready. They know what to do. And the second part of the question is, it usually takes time for developing countries to understand that it is not that difficult. Don't wait until tomorrow. Do it today. Go back home, do a website, start selling something, start selling as soon as possible. And in the process, you will learn which are the best ways to do it. Now, there's one case example that you can see on YouTube. There is a very good course from Stanford called Blitz Scaling Course. It's wonderful, 17 episodes. And there's one particular lecture by the guy who did Airbnb. And this is public, it's very good information. He said, we launched Airbnb many times. We launched Airbnb and nobody knew about it, so we launched it again. And they continuously launched Airbnb as many times as necessary to actually make people aware that your product exists. That's what they did in Airbnb. And the other thing that they did in Airbnb, which I think is the only way to do these things, is that Airbnb is about selling sleeping space, like bedrooms or apartments or houses. So when you travel from one place to another, like if you are in Bangladesh and you want to come to La Coruña or Alicante in Spain, you look for an apartment and you actually hire a room there. So the people from Airbnb did 100 trips with potential with the actual customers to understand what were the needs. So they actually did 100 trips. So it's like you book with Airbnb and you're going to do the trip to somewhere, and the CEO of Airbnb goes with you and another 99 customers to understand what are the challenges that you face as a traveler. So only by doing this, you can understand what's going on. So I think it's very important to understand the consumer. You need to understand what is the consumer, what are their needs, and then to convert their wishes into technology through the engineers.
Okay, the last question is a very small question. Based on your short visit in our country, so what do you see in future in our Bangladesh?
I can't tell you about the future because I haven't been enough, but let me give you this reply. I was very impressed immediately,
Okay.
because you go out of the airport, you see the motorway, there's like big buildings, like, wow, place is brilliant, okay? And then the attitude of the people is great. Everybody is so welcoming. So I think there are two ways. I think there are only two ways. Number one, you digitize as soon as possible and you go into computing power immediately, or you will continue to be a production company country like happens to many other production countries in the world.
Your valuable ideas and thought, and I hope that it's going to help us for our country in the decision making to improve our national economical sectors, also the other sectors. Thank you.
Thank you.